Okay, so we are starting on Ragnar Blackmane, the Wolf Lord of the Space Wolves. One of my favorite characters. I actually play Space Wolves along with the father-son Death Guard army that I'm currently working on as well. Okay, so getting into it here, using the sprue cutters. I'm not going directly to the part, giving it a little bit of room. Just because some of these parts are very intricate and you don't want to get too close with those nippers and cut off something you shouldn't have. So I'd rather just give myself a little bit of room and then go in later with either a hobby knife or another set of sprue cutters. A little bit of mold lines. Yep, look at that face. That face will give me problems down the line on this video, just so you know in advance. But yeah, I'm drilling the bottom of his head. It's not a gun barrel, but we also drill our gun barrels out, don't we, kids? Just going to put a hole in the bottom of his neck there, just so I can mount it on a piece of wire. It'll make things a lot easier when I'm trying to paint it. So all I'm going to do here is just basically fit it for a piece of paper clip and super glue that in. Like I said, it'll make it a lot easier to handle. I don't have to be holding on to that little tiny head, and just make things easier when it comes to painting it. Which, there he is, head's on a spike. And I will just go ahead and cut this off here, and don't use those. You don't want to ruin your good nippers. We're going to take a pair of pliers that have a wire cutting attachment on there, or wire cutting side, snip that off. You do not want to cut paper clips with your nippers. Good way to ruin them. So what we're doing here is the hand there, it doesn't really have enough space in there to drill in and put a paper clip in there. So I'm using blue poster tack instead. It will give you the same results, if a little bit less permanent like that. It might fall off on you here and there, but for the most part it holds. Now I've blue tacked Ragnar onto one of my expensive painting handles there, basically because he's going to have a stylized base. He's not going to just be glued to the black slotted base. I think it's a 40 millimeter base that he comes with, but yeah, we'll take that a little bit further down the road there. Gonna go ahead and yep, already primed with Steinler's black, and then on top of that, I'm not necessarily doing a zenithal prime, but I want to go ahead and get everything primed up with the it's the Vallejo surface primer, the light gray. Basically because I don't want to try and do that blue-gray that the Space Wolves usually wear over a black prime. So just going ahead and that's the way I'm doing it. It's not really a zenithal because I am garbage at zenithal primes. They never really seem to work out for me. But it's like I said, it's going to work out fine to get the other colors on top of a lighter prime base. Now I'm taking the color The Fang from Citadel Color, and I'm going to use this as kind of like a reverse zenithal. I'm going to hit everything from the bottom up to act as shadows. So if I missed it with the blue, I still got a little bit of the black coming through there, and then I'll just go ahead and hit everything with a lighter gray from the top down after that. And that color is Rust Gray. So this is going to go on just like I did that faux zenithal. It's just going to basically just cover up everything from the top down. Your rust gray, or your the fang rather. Sorry about that. That's going to still be in the recesses and in the undersides. All right, so moving right along, going to start on his face, which I'm not going to lie, I stripped his face maybe 4 times during the entire filming of this. Just couldn't get it right with my bad eye, but we will get back to that. Yep, there he is with Bugman's Glow. Then I was going to do a mix of contrast medium and Gilman Flesh and give him some shading, but in the meantime, we will go ahead and get started on the armor trim. I'm going to be using this Retributor armor from Citadel, and with this, I'm just going to get in there and get all that trim that's supposed to be gold and maneuver this like almost like a palsy victim. And if I'm a little sloppy there, it's not going to really matter because I can go over that with focus there. That's another thing I noticed about this video. It's a lot of in and out of focus, but that's the finished product right there. And I painted up the wolf heads on his backpack. Looking good. Gonna go with a little Abaddon black and start painting in that WWE championship belt there that he's got. There we go. Now with the corn red, gonna get the trim on the belt. Now, for some reason, this figure gave me more problems while trying to paint and film. But like I said, I think it had to do something with my bad eye because it was not being good to me. Okay, looking like Freddy Krueger right there. Yep, that's with the contrast paint. And I plan on dry brushing some Kislev flesh. And here's the first time I decide I'm not liking it. Not enough. It's not warm enough underneath the Kislev flesh. So yeah, I do end up taking that off. I think this is my last attempt to try and fix that version of it. But that's the nice thing about these. If you don't like it, you can strip it and start all over again. Now this is a trick that model builders have been using for a long time. Miniature painters have just started using this in the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years. It's panel line accent, and it's an oil-based product. Works with capillary action. You just touch it to what you want to flood the area with, and that capillary action will just pull it in the right directions for you. So there you go. And so you can actually see it moving right down that gauntlet he's got on. And we're going to do a little bit more on the bottom there. And get it from the right angle. Oh, my camera was in the way so many times on this build. There we go. You can actually see it moving through there, which it's really cool. And it's an awesome product. And then I just decided I'm going to have a little bit more fun with it. Get some on the front skull, which probably didn't need it, but I like to have fun with it. So. All right, looking good there. Yeah, they actually make this in a couple different colors now. It used to be just available in black, but now you can get it in brown and I think a darker gray, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. Get that cap on. Don't want to have an accident. Okay, bringing up the corn red. This is going to be for the inside of Ragnar's cape, which will be base coated with that, and then I'm going to do successive glazes of, I want to say it's Vallejo Flat Earth, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Okay, Dryad Bark. That is for some sponging. Going to be doing some chipping effects here. And I know a lot of people might say Space Marine armor is made out of ceramite. It doesn't rust. Well, it's going to be Grimdark, and I like rust, so he's going to have some rust effects on him. So we're just lightly sponging some Dryad Bark on there. And then on top of that, we're going to go ahead and take the Fenrisian Gray and do the same thing and hit some of those spots where we hit it with the dryad bark. That's going to bring out a little bit of depth to the chips. And there's that flat earth that I was talking about. Have no idea why I showed you the underside of the bottle, but we're going to be, it's kind of like a mix between a wash and a glaze what I've got here. What I end up doing is I start doing, if I can talk, start using successive coats a little, like halfway down I'll do another one, 3/4 of the way down I'll do another one, just to bring out some more depth on there. And yeah, there's that face, which at this point in time I'm just like, okay, I'm done with it. I'm going to strip it and start it all over again. At one point in time I decided I might have to just take a Primaris helmet, cut off his top knot and stick it onto a helmet, but didn't want to do that at the end. I just wanted to be able to try and paint his face with at least one good eye. There he is, stripped. And going back to the cape, because I think I've had about enough of his head at this point in time, his head and face. Yeah, I'm just taking that Mechanicus standard gray and highlighting the fur areas there. Just using one of my stippling brushes as a dry brush. I want to make sure that that great wolf that he's got on his back is, you can tell that it's pretty old because of the gray fur. Yeah, there's some tiny details in there. Working on the nails of the wolf. There's some that are hanging from his chain that goes around his neck, and you got his ruin there. Yeah, a lot of detail on this model. I mean, if both my eyes were at 100%, I could really get some good stuff going on this. Now with the Rhinox hide here, it's like the perfect color for brown leather. You just start it off with that, and then you could just kind of stipple in some edges with some oranges and make it look like aged leather. Now to make him Grimdark, I'm using AK Interactive Streaking Grime. This is made for Panzer Gray, and I decided to just paint up an oil drum in the same color that his armor is, because I want to see what kind of effect it's going to have after the effect is completely finished. So just went ahead and slopped some paint on a extra drum, because if you're a 40k player you probably have a ton of these things lying around. I probably should just put a link up at the corner there for the objective marker video I did with those. And then once it's dried, you just take some white spirits, use a cotton swab, and start wiping away some of that streaking grime. You go the right direction and you get those streaks like that. So I'm pretty happy with what that looks like. It should transfer very well to Ragnar's armor, which once you see me put the streaking grime on there, you're gonna be like, no, but it works out in the end. So now I have an extra oil barrel or oil drum there that I just have to make up some terrain for to put on there. But yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for right there. Alright, so this is an oldie but goodie. This is one of my Posh airbrushes from way back when. It's a single action. It's what I usually use for base coating stuff. I just decided I didn't want to use my newer airbrush for the oil wash. So I just put some white spirits in there, get some of the streaking grime in there, and start going to town. And yes, I am wearing gloves with this because that stuff does get nasty. And that's just going to completely cover the piece. Yeah, I actually have two old Posh airbrushes. I have a single action and a dual action. But yeah, they were my workhorses for years and years. And look at that, there he is. He's getting all grimy. I'm just trying to focus on the figure itself because I've got other plans for the base. And the base, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail with the base in this video. I'm saving that for, I want to do a video just about how I do my different bases. Okay, then we got to get a little bit on the pauldron there. And then once I'm happy with what I've got on there, yeah, I'm just going to empty the rest back in. Yeah, look at that. That is an old airbrush. But you know what? It works. Took a while to clean all that oil out of it though. Alright, so about 20 minutes in, after drying, I start pulling some of that oil wash off. I don't want to take all of it off because it would ruin that Grimdark effect. But I'm just taking a cotton swab here that I've got dipped in mineral or white spirits, and yeah, you just take off most of it. You don't want to take it all off. You want to leave some in the recesses there because it's going to give you that grimy look. And already, look at that leg. That's his right leg. It just looks incredible right there with that on there. And even the chest. Left leg looks good too. I'm going to take just a little bit off this pauldron because I don't want to take all of it off of there. Just enough to show that the grime is being affected by gravity there. Okay, then his backpack. Now one thing you're not going to see in this because I lost the footage was I took some dirty down verdigris and I put it on the 2 wolf heads. But I do have some dirty down rust that I have footage for later on. All right, now this is one of the sharper ended cotton buds I have. It's nice for getting into crevices and in between panels. So I'm just trying to get a little bit more detailed. I want it grimdark, but I don't really want it sloppy either. There you go. Now he's looking like he's been fighting for a while and that armor's taking a beating. I actually have the original Ragnar Blackmane metal miniature from years ago. Huge difference. But he's looking good. Look at that. Yeah, so happy with how that body's coming out. And then I gotta think about that head. And for everything that was glued together after paint, I just used super glue. I didn't want to have to worry about trying to strip any paint and file anything down. I'm just going to just throw some super glue gel on there and let it do its job. Okay, looking good. Just gotta cut off the paper clip on that necklace, and oh, there he is. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Ugly. This face is gonna give me nightmares. All right, Dirty Down Rust. I love this product. I love all of their products. As my phone goes off in the back, it almost changes right before your eyes. I love this stuff. Like I said, the verdigris, I used it in a review video, and at the time of this publication, I want to say it's at almost 1,500 views, which for a small channel like mine, that's like winning the lottery. But yeah, this stuff, you could look at it. You could actually see it starting to change into that orange. Oh, it's beautiful. It's not cheap, but it's a great product. I'm just going around and checking to see if there's any other spots I want to. Yeah, let's just take a look at that. And all that writing on the inside on his the bottom of his legs, that was all done with that panel line accent. There we go. Let's get that rusted up. And I can just hear the purist saying, "It doesn't rust." That's okay. It's my figure. I'm going to paint it how I want to. So it changes right before your eyes. And the people over at Dirty Down, yes, take my money, which they have. Alright, there's a little bit of that stylized base. You'll see more of that in the final reveal. There's where I finally decided, okay, I'm not doing any more on his head. It's going to go like that. I'm just going to have to finish up his hair and his top knot and all that. So we're getting ready for the final reveal. Like, share, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, why not? We're having so much fun. And here's the final reveal.